So, continuing from the planet equivalent, right, that is what we have seen, that if you continue to consume in the same manner, then you would require more, I mean, we are not within budget. The other thing that we would like to discuss now is Earth's natural system. So, Earth systems science involves exploring interaction amongst major components of the Earth system, for example, biosphere, atmosphere and energy system, etc., etc., right. So, we have to actually look also into this natural changes that occurs vis-a-vis human induced changes, right. And then we should actually predict what is the impact of such changes, right. If we want to control the, we do not want to go to 3 planets equivalent scenario, then this is what we should look into. Exploring the interaction amongst major components of Earth system, must understand this biosphere, atmosphere, energy system, although we will not go into great details in this, because then that those are the subjects itself, by subjects itself. And then any change that naturally brought in by the by nature or human changes and their impact we must study. So, this is the subject study that one should look into if one looks into the sustainability issues, making the planet sustainable. So, the natural system of Earth consists of life and planetary system, they are all connected to each other. Cycle means how much you can use over and over again, and energy and matter flows in the nature, in the overall system, and the balance. If there is a disbalance, for example, you are generating, let us say, more than what is naturally occurring carbon dioxide at the top of the atmospheric level, then there is a disbalance. So, how would you regulate it? Because human action of using large quantity of fossil fuel has resulted in generating waste of the kind of, let us say, carbon dioxide. Now, as that is what I am saying, how human action changes, and we have to see how do we balance it. So, the natural system, that first is the life and planetary systems, they are connected to each other. How much matter we can use over and over again. For example, water, right, there is a cycle. You have a monsoon cycle which brings in the rain, and the water flows directly over the surface flow, groundwater flows, goes to the ocean, evaporates, and there is a cycle. Excuse me. Right. Okay. So, that is the cycle part of it. Similarly, there is a carbon cycle, we will look into it, and then how matter and energy moves from place to place. For example, the moisture vapor bearing air moves upward from the sea and then tends to move towards the higher latitudes, right. And that is what, when it comes in contact with the temperature, I mean the cool and hot air mixed together, there can be condensation occurring. So, rainfall because of this kind of scenario. So, therefore, movement of the material matter movement of the energy of course is related to the suns and things like that. So, how this change is regulated, that is the balance, how the balance is occurring, or if there is no balance, what is happening actually. So, it is not very easy to understand all natural cycles. I mean, it would take time possibly, but one has to look into this kind of one study those kind of system. Although we are not going to, as I said, in a big way into this. The main of course the two things, one is the carbon and oxygen flow, the matter flow if you are talking of carbon and the oxygen flow, right. Oxygen is necessary for life, oxygen is necessary for life, and carbon is the most important part of the molecule, and we talk in terms of carbon cycle, because conversion to let us say heat energy, radiation to chemical energy is through carbon, and which when we actually can again convert back into heat by burning. So, it is the carbon molecule which is most important. Therefore, we talk in terms of carbon cycle. Therefore, we talk in terms of carbon cycle, right. So, carbon is a major courier of energy, that takes the energy, that is what takes the energy. So, how does it happen? It is the plant which traps the solar energy, right, through in their leaves, chlorophyll, they trap the solar energy, and this is what gives rise to your food, right. This is what the seeds finally, like whatever wheat, rice, whatever one takes. So, that this is the energy stored from there, and then the animals should be eating those plants, and if people who eat the non-vegetarian or what you call omnivorous, right, the herbivorous obviously eats them, and the others who eat them omnivorous like human being, they take everything. So, in that case you are taking that energy actually, but only thing who is trapping it is the plants, and these are also the dead plants or dead carcasses of animals that has gone down below the earth gets converted into fossil fuel over the period of time. So, animal consume food produced by photosynthesis, thus releasing the stored up energy and carbon dioxide, right. So, the stored up energy is only through this, and by the way people are trying to mimic this, trapping the solar energy. There are some research is on along that line, that can you have something very efficient trapping of solar energy, nature does it that way. So, can we have something, the chemists they do research along this line. So, then who eats up those, they release carbon dioxide, and some of this stored up energy is used up for their activity. Now, if the carbon cycle is out of balance, and then carbon dioxide concentration can increase. So, there is a cycle, there is a cycle, as you shall see, plant traps, animal takes them and converts some of them into carbon dioxide back, or whatever you are doing, if you are burning the timber, then also you are producing carbon dioxide. So, the cycle of carbon therefore is very important, and if this is out of balance, that can result in global warming and climatic change, that we shall see a little bit. So, the carbon cycle is somewhere here, right. You have the sun, the photosynthesis, the plants captures this, right, and then some of those decay of organisms, they get dead organisms and waste products, they get converted into fossil fuels, and you take them out. Some of them of course goes out at root respiration, plant respiration, animal respiration, they generate carbon dioxide, right, and then you bring out to the plant, right, auto and factory emissions, then transportation energy emission, that again generates carbon dioxide, Now, this carbon dioxide is used up by the plant to convert it into carbon, this. So, basically plants uses carbon dioxide with through photosynthesis it converts into carbon. So, the cycle is something like this: carbon dioxide comes here along with the energy, converts into carbon, and that is how the process is. Because after all, if you want to break carbon dioxide, you need energy, and the process of photosynthesis does that. The energy is from the sun, that is how it traps it, and then this is the process. So, this is the process, actually this is a carbon cycle. As long as it is in balance, not whatever being generated, what is being, whatever is carbon is trapped, and whatever is being generated through this, if all of it is consumed by the plants, then everything is in balance. But if it is not consumed, then excess will remain somewhere up there, and that means if your generation is too high, that can lead to disbalance. So, that is where it comes, factory emissions, and automobiles, that is what it is. Or else if you are using directly this energy somewhere instead of this route, directly you are using somewhere for your purpose in in auto emissions or anything, auto and things like that, emission you will cut down onto that. So, the carbon cycle therefore is important, like planet equivalent and that planet equivalent we say is the consumption of resources, it is consumption of resources. Now, what we are saying is that there must be a balance. There should be, like there is a periodicity, every year whatever you get you must consume that only and not more than that, and you do not generate excess waste of the kind of this. So, this is, as I said, this was related to, this is related to Earth's natural system. We must should not create disbalance. If you create disbalance, then of course, this will have its own consequences. So, excess carbon dioxide, as we said. So, carbon cycle is an important issue. You can see the same diagram, it is available in net, plenty of them will be available in net. So much is being discussed now, actually it is a big concern. So, therefore, a lot of it is being discussed now. Same thing, carbon dioxide here, the carbon cycle, the sun rays, and this is being absorbed by this system, right. Ocean, some amount might be dissolved in ocean and so on. So, it is a complete cycle again. So, this is adding up, this is absorbing, accounting is given 0.5 for example here, right. Proportions are some given, vegetation, etc., this one can look into. So, carbon dioxide, carbon cycle is an important issue. If you see, this is the, this is the, so nature if nature would have actually kept it would have maintained the balance would have been maintained by nature, right, and that must have been happening in earlier days when population was small, etc., and the consumption rate, autos were not there and things like that. Now, then human perturbation causes the carbon dioxide, excess carbon dioxide to occur. So, you see the land area is somewhere there, ocean, right. So, if you see land use change, land uptake is 1.7, okay. So, carbon dioxide, mainly two places from where carbon dioxide comes. One is a fossil fuel and you are taking it from geological reserves. The other is in the rock. For example, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate or any other carbonates, they are in the carbon dioxide in some form, they got trapped in this one only. So, these are the geological reserves, limestone reserve and fossil fuel reserve. So, when you burn them, that is what results in, right. So, relative values are given 5.3, cement production 0.1, they add 5.4, they add to the atmosphere, while this one land uptake and land use change, there is like some carbon dioxide is taken up by the land in like your plants and trees and things like that. They use up some, and some go up as well. So there's a nearly balance in this kind of scenario, right? There is ocean which will actually take up some of those, because there are plants and elements, those are living things are also there in those places. So this is disbalancing, and approximately you can see typically 5.1 of the 5.4 means around, this is of course slightly higher figure, 10% or so, 7 to 10% comes from the cement production, 10 to 7% comes, but rest all is fossil fuel, So it is the fossil fuel is the main thing which is adding up to carbon dioxide, and due to human activity, and then the cement is one of the major contributor to fossil fuel, and that's why there's a big concern related to cement or similar sort of thing, right. So that's actually brings us to the end of this discussion. What we have looked into, let's summarize before we close down. First, in the last two sessions, what we have looked in, first we looked into what is called ecological footprint. Followed from that, we talked about planet equivalent. Then we looked into lastly the carbon cycle. These are related to resources and energy put together, and this is related to basically kind of unbalancing, or not maintaining the balance related to generating waste which I am not able to handle. Essentially, carbon is the courier of energy in the natural system. Carbon dioxide is converted into carbon by plants, and then you burn it, you can release that energy. So these three aspects we have discussed today, right. So I think at this point of time we will be closing our discussion. If you have any questions, we would like to handle.